Oh, that's
Really?
This is information that
But actually, that was I literally had to write a thank you section on it.
What have I written there? What is sentences? We talked about different sentences. We talked about what a young offender. We nearly finished anyway. Like an open forum then. So I want you to think about the answers to these questions. Quite please. 1 more second. 1 more minute. The questions you're asking, how are they feeding into our play? How are they feeding into your characterisation? Jess, can you just get the door for please? We can use some of what Jason said and we can create something more with it tomorrow. Like we've got a few facts now and somebody's lived experience working with young offenders. Jason, I'm talking.
Jason did think of a question.
Did you?
Yeah.
I won't embarrass you because we're filming you, but if that camera wasn't on.
So, like, what age is like your youngest offender being like?
Oh.
Like a offence?
Probably 10.
10? Is that really?
10, 11.
Don't keep firing every single question at a time.
Has anyone been like kicked out for like saying anything rather than
What's so bad at the yacht that we keep them out?
Yeah.
That'll be a bit of a... Sorry, you too bad to come here.
Yeah.
No.
Annika, does your stepdad working with you or?
No, he doesn't, but he does, one of his friends does, and, or used to, and he has a lot of, like, links with, like, like, yacht and, like, a lot of links with, people who help with it.
Wondered. Emma's got a question.
Have you ever had like one of your teammates get injured by like a young offender?
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel scared when you like talk to these people? Sorry.
Generally, no, but I don't mean that in any... I don't mean that in a macho, hard way.
I'm scared. Probably
I think what Jason's talked about is understanding and having empathy and compassion. And if you
I mean,
like
sometimes
to me,
it's a
they're
bit
like
nervous.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be a bit nervous.
So you wear protection or like if they're like
he's got a bullet vest.
that would make somebody like that type of thing. Cause like, correct me if I'm wrong. Usually, like that means he's already got his guard up, which means the person going in would be like, well, you don't even want to talk to me anyway. You're just doing it because you have to, clearly, because you don't even trust me. Like that type of response.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Emma?
I know like in like proper prison they have like, they make their own kind of like weapons. Does that ever happen with young offenders or is it just?
It will happen in custodial environments, yeah. There's always a lot of friction and always a lot of conflict.
Who watched the, I sent you some links for documentaries set in prisons in young offenders. It's, like, if you haven't seen them, send and share some, maybe gang one, but there's some about young offenders. Is it Felton? That's the young offenders, isn't it? But how many young offenders are there for women? Like women's prisons are only 4 or 5, isn't there?
Yeah, it's about 3 or 4.
So they'll have to travel a bit further, won't they?
whole of
And that's the
the UK.
thing.
So like if I
We're on about
so if I got
institutions.
in like custodial like young offenders, I don't know if that's the right like terminology, but if I was like put into like like a young offenders custodial prison, where would be like the closest one from here?
I don't know now. It would have been Eastwood Park, which is not far from here. But I don't know if that still has a juvenile wing. No, yeah, it did.
So are there any in Bristol?
That would be
That would
it.
have been it.
So Eastwood Park is about, Dursley, or basically if you went down Gloucester Road and kept going for for about half an hour, you'd hit Eastwood Park. You know Lay Hill Prison? So Waterton-under-Edge or Dursley. So it's just down there, so it's just down Gloucester Road. About half an hour from here.
Alicia had a question?
In prison, what is the most drugs do they use in prison? Like what's the most common?
I think it would be usually the young people that we work with who take drugs nowadays, it's usually always weed.
Do you get lots of addiction issues, Jason?
No, not like we used to. I remember we used to have heroin and crack, but those kind of drugs are seen as dirty.
Yeah.
But weed is still seen as...
And ketamine seems to be quite popular in Bristol. No?
No, not now.
Interesting,
Don't
isn't
we-
it?
It's more with, I think that ketamine is more with like party girls.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it?
Girls.
Rather than
So,
offenders.
I'd
Like
never know
a-
like a boy to like
Yeah,
do
okay.
ketamine.
But then there will be a lot of kind of internet internet prescription drugs, you know, like Xanax and codeine, and then lean.
But lean is codeine mixed with something else.
Yeah.
I heard codeine and paracetamol was a really big thing in business come out.
You could buy it like that.
Yeah, that's just like
It's insane, really, isn't it?
What's it
It's an
called?
opiate. It's the best. It's a derivative from heroin. Junior?
Do you agree with weed being illegal?
Ah, that's a tricky one, isn't it? I kind of,
Like, you
Don't-
see bad sex, yeah.
it's like that bit, you know, you do that jump, so a heroin addict usually started smoking
Yeah,
weed,
the weed sex,
and then he went to that.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean, so you can trace that connection going back, can't you?
yeah.
Heroin addiction, crack or whatever, and then going back, 14-year-old weed. But that doesn't mean that every 14-year-old who smokes weed is going to go to heroin, you know?
I can't handle it.
Yeah, and I think weed is not, the weed of now is not the weed when I was 14, you know? And it's so much supercharged and all that lot. Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? I'm too old to know. I don't know, and I haven't smoked weed for 40 years.
the weed that you get on the streets now is about 70% THC and 30% CBD, whereas actual weed, and that's called skunk, and actual weed, which nowadays only really like Rasta smoke, is 50-50 CBD to THC,
Exactly.
which is
And
a
then-
lot better
yeah.
for you.
Yeah, and the CBD kind of takes out the really high bits of THC.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't. So you would say there is a link between smoking skunk and mental health,
Yeah.
you know, and it might cause psychosis in some people. And if you're young, your brain's developing and all their neural pathways are firing off. And is it dangerous? Yes, it is. Would it be good to take that black market out of that cannabis use and make it prescribed by a government? Maybe. But this government will never ever
They can't
do
make
that.
enough money on
They
it.
will never do that.
Look at Portugal. Look at what Portugal has done in the response to the drugs problem we had there. Just research. If you're interested, research it. It's very interesting. I personally think they should legalise it. That's my personal opinion. Not because it's good for you. I don't think any drug, I'm not going to move on and affect it. It's just my opinion. But I don't think criminalising things like that is the way forward either. But I do think it's complex, and some people want to do it to protect people. But
And Portugal used to have more strict drug laws than this country. You couldn't, you know, Portugal in the late 80s, early 90s had a massive AIDS epidemic because they wouldn't give out clean needles. You know, basically if you're going to do that, then do that. You know, whereas at least this country still had clean needle exchanges. And then Portugal has completely got a 180-degree turn.
it's brilliant. That's what I think would work, but not under this government.
Wait, what has Portugal done? Can you like briefly tell us?
5 years ago.
We've got to go now, but I can certainly send you some research. Why don't you research it yourself? Yeah, that's good research, isn't it? These are heroin addicts, isn't it? We did something. One more question, and then we've got to go. Alicia had one as well.
Yeah,
In
Alicia.
2000, they decriminalised all drugs.
Quiet, well.
Like in the prison, what if they had an illness like that like if the illness made them do something to the person, like voices or something?
Like a mental health illness.
Yeah.
Well, we have healthcare wings in prisons and psychologists and psychiatrists and mental health workers, so you'd hope that people would get support.
That's my counter.
Oh, okay.
We really need to end this now, guys. We did so far and we're just getting to the end now. So we can start filming now, please.